We know that among other main purposes of blood is to deliver chemicals like glucose and other nutrients, the products of cellular activity like antibodies and hormones, and oxygen to the tissues, as well as carry metabolic waste products like carbon dioxide and urea away from the tissues. Therefore, these materials must move back and forth between the vessels and the tissues. This mostly happens in the capillaries, and it's called capillary exchange. Chemicals pass between the blood and tissues via three different routes. The first is directly through the plasma membrane and cytoplasm of the endothelial cells of the capillary wall. The second only happens in fenestrated capillaries, which means the capillary wall has tiny filtration pores in it. Not all capillaries have these, but when they do, materials small enough can pass through them. And finally, there are small slits between the endothelial cells of the capillary wall called intercellular clefts, and some materials can pass through them. The mechanisms by which the materials pass back and forth also vary. They are called diffusion, transcytosis, filtration, and reabsorption. In this video, we'll take a look at diffusion and transcytosis. Diffusion is the relative movement of a solute from an area of higher concentration to an area of lower concentration. In order for this to occur, the substances in question have to either be permeable through the plasma membrane of the endothelial cells or be small enough to pass through the filtration pores or the intercellular clefts. Since substances like glucose and oxygen are more concentrated in the blood than in the tissues, they diffuse down their concentration gradient into the tissues. Waste products like carbon dioxide are more concentrated in the tissues, so they diffuse into the blood. Transcytosis means to move across a cell. Via pinocytosis or endocytosis, the endothelial cells pick up a material on one side of the plasma membrane, transport the vesicle across the cell, and then expel the material from the cell onto the other side via exocytosis. This is not a common mechanism of transport, but it works for fatty acids, albumin, and some hormones like insulin.